Dear listener, I'm going to tell you a secret here at F major added second chord. I didn't just play that jingle. You just heard that jingle. But as a matter of fact, I'm going to play the jingle at the end of this recording and then composite it back in at the front as a reward, like a carrot on a stick. I don't like carrots. I don't have anything against carrots. Carrots in a stew are fine, but just straight carrots when they're all crunchy, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't know. I tried to make carrots once and I didn't leave them in the oven long enough and they came out all hard. I mean, they taste like olive oil and rosemary. Was it rosemary or oregano? Was it basil? No, it wasn't basil. It might have been parsley. Anyway, whatever it was. Oh, this is going to bother me for a couple hours. I think it was parsley. Anyway, carrots, put it on a stick. I think I was making pork chops. Yeah, that was the day I made pork chops. Because the pork chops were one recipe and okay, I'm good. We're happy. We're rolling. Vices. I was talking to my friend Bryan, like, what am I going to record for podcast this week? And Bryan, who does not listen to podcast, he said, you should record an episode about vices. And then Avery, who does not listen to podcast either, said, you should make a podcast about lices. I thought it was a nice idea, and I might do it twice. Maybe even thrice, if it doesn't put me in a trice. So the original idea for this podcast, because occasionally I do have ideas before I start talking, was just list off all the vices that I don't do, including, drugs, alcohol, loose women, loose men, loose individuals who are neither men nor women, loud music, and Satan. Those are vices in which I do not participate. I was going to gloss over the vices I do participate in, such as the ones I'm not going to mention for the next 3 seconds. I invite you to fill in this blank. And then I was going to ramble off a long list of things that are not technically vices that I also avoid. This was going to be a funny joke and I was going to run it into the ground because this was going to be a 7-minute bit. Turns out I can't think of anything, and also this was a stupid idea because I was just going to run into the joke into the ground. Why is it that we get into this point where we're like, oh, these things are good, but they're not, like, they're bad for us? Like, what's this deal with, like, guilty pleasures? Like, I get, like butter. You can't eat, like, a stick of butter. Yeah, but you would love to eat a stick of butter, but you can't eat a stick of butter. But, like, listening to, like, Britney Spears' Toxic, like, that's the thing everyone talks about. People who don't like Britney Spears like Toxic, because Toxic is a great song. I'm pretentious as hell. You've listened to me talk about music. You heard me ramble for like 10 minutes in a circle about something called a sound memory, which even now I don't really understand what I was talking about. The record's still good, by the way. I listen to it occasionally, and it does what it was supposed to do. But Toxic does what it's supposed to do. It's pretty great. I would never admit that out loud. That's a lie. Every time I hear Toxic, I admit that out loud. I don't hear Toxic that often, thank goodness, or else I would just constantly be just running around in a circle forswearing myself. These people say, oh, that's a guilty pleasure. I'm not guilty. I know a good thing when I hear it. Is it absolutely unlike 99% of the music I listen to? Sure. But I think it's okay. I think it's okay, and I think I'm okay for liking that thing. Where do you even get this guilty pleasures thing from? Like romance novels. Romance novels are guilty pleasures, you know? I don't read romance novels, but I don't really judge people who read romance novels. It fills a niche in society. It fills, I was going to say a hunger. I was going to say a need. And you don't really need romance novels, no. But if they make you happy, and they do make people happy, I'm not gonna, just get up on my high horse and cast aspersions down upon it. No. Devils, no, that's not. Or like RuPaul's Drag Race or something. I don't know. Do people count RuPaul's Drag Race as a guilty pleasure? Are there people who watch it as a guilty pleasure? Something like RuPaul's Drag Race, I imagine you have to go just like full in on. I don't think you can sneak that around. I saw a little bit of RuPaul's Drag Race once, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh. That was something else. I can't read RuPaul's facial expressions. RuPaul is an inscrutable being. What am I talking about? I'm talking about vices. Oh boy. No, sometimes things are good and you just have to enjoy the good things that there are. I don't have... Sometimes things are good and you just have to enjoy the good things that are there, you know? I don't have, the time or the energy to like sit down and hold my head in my hands and beat myself up about the stupid things that I enjoy. Sometimes the things I enjoy are bad and I realize that and I stop enjoying them. That was me with ketchup on macaroni and cheese when I was a child, That just happens sometimes. But, sometimes things are good and we have to stop convincing ourselves that they're bad. I don't know why we do this. Sometimes we do this... Oh, fire truck. Sometimes we do these things because, they're unpopular and we don't want to, be caught liking the unpopular thing. That's this thing. The masses are never right. 4 million people can be wrong. Thank you very much. Sometimes it's because that thing is socially unacceptable. Well, okay, it depends on why it's socially unacceptable. Is it socially unacceptable because people, they don't like the way it smells, or is it causing like actionable harm in the community? Those are two different things. You have to make that distinction. Is that you think something is beneath you? Nothing's beneath you. You gotta be, I'm secure. I'm secure enough in who and what I am that I can say, oh, that's not, beneath me. I can, respect myself, but still, quote unquote, stoop so low as to enjoy something every now and again. Now, some things have to be moderated, like fried chicken, or recreational marijuana use, or binge watching on Netflix. You can't binge watch all day. You'll get eye strain. Eye strain's great. But when it's good and it's not hurting anybody, like who am I to say, oh, that's a disgrace. Who am I to say that? I don't care. Who am I to say, oh, that's just such a weird thing? Man, I don't care. Who am I to say, oh, you're better than that? I read comic books. Sometimes I watch people on the internet play video games. No one cares. Some people might say, oh, that's not the best possible uses of your time. Okay, yeah, no, I could be, shaving. I could be cleaning up my room. You should be thinking about the lofty things like, Play-Doh or... Oh, it's been a long time since I had a grilled cheese sandwich. I don't even care about, Play-Doh or whatever the heck it was the second part of that sentence was. Maybe I just want to go have a grilled cheese sandwich. I don't care if, people think it's like an infantile thing to enjoy a grilled cheese sandwich. It's good and it's simple. I got to make a grilled cheese sandwich sometime. I'll do that, sometime the next week, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'll buy some bread and I'll buy some cheese and I'll grill it. You can't tell me I can't do that. You can't tell me I'm too good for that. You can't tell me. Because it's a small pleasure, and it's not hurting anybody, and it's not hurting me. Well, what about all that butter? I'll work it off. I'm going to go for a long walk, and I'm going to work all that off, and I'm going to be young and useful and slim forever. Don't worry about it. You worry about your problems. You worry about how you're so uptight that you can't let a man enjoy a grilled cheese in peace. Oh boy, that went places. That was not the podcast I thought I was going to record. But I'm glad that I recorded this one, because these are good thoughts for a person to think. And I have thought all of them when I was saying them out loud. Thank you. Thank you, dear audience, for letting me think these thoughts at you. Thank you again to Bryan and Avery for getting my ball rolling. Never let me say that again. That was a bad sentence. I'm just going to call it in now before I embarrass myself again.